Welcome back to the survival series, where my goal is to conquer the world and build my kingdom. In today's journey, I found mysterious caves, built a gunpowder farm, and came across Edwin. Who is he? Well, if you want to know how these mysterious structures got here, or what Edwin's hidden intentions may be, come along with me as we continue our journey into this strange world. As you can tell by the audio, it's a bit messed up. It sounds like we got some villager ASMR going on here, and I bet Edwin played a role in that. Anyways, we ended the last episode with the creation of the Lush Valleys biome, which I stand above here for. But as much as I want to start building on this terrain, I have other priorities I must get straight. So allow me to bathe my tools in some lava and gather some basalt, because our first build is going to take place right through this portal here, where we will be upgrading my old design and cleaning this mess to the right, which I used to call a cave. I then started by removing the terrain and outlining a new perimeter with an igneous rock made of basalt that I mined. I then filled the ground with a layer of vegetation, soul sand, and roots where I would place my own version of the nether trees, which includes me designing ones that looked more like what they were supposed to be. Fungi, and I even added some spores on their stems using candles. And there we have it, a portal design that looks much more like how the nether should be. So let's address the elephant in the room, this giant hole which will now become a part of my lake. So I went ahead and did that, but also modified the pathway, which makes things already look nicer. And then here's a shot of me building a tree, specifically an apple tree, and here's another shot of me building some more trees that'll help make the space look a lot less empty. And the last thing I did was build a mining operation where workers can rest after a long day. Now the last thing I needed was a dock to go fishing on, but by the time I got to my base to grab some blocks, I saw something rather terrible, and I'm just gonna let you see it for yourself. Okay. Yeah. Villager block. This is not supposed to happen. You see, I built this automatic villager breeder a long time ago for the purpose of breeding villagers, where underneath they would either be funneled to my trader or iron farm. But since I had no use for this breeder, I made a switch that would push the block above the baby villager's head and remove them indefinitely. Despite that being very grim, there were 4 villagers in the breeder, and this meant that 2 villagers could be spawned at the same time and push one out of the path of death. And you could see how this problem might have been caused from there. So where am I taking this story, you ask? Well, you see, this all falls back on an individual named Edwin, a freelance villager who I set free from the trading hall to roam wherever he pleased. But by taking the elevator into the farm, he was able to breed with the farmer up top, where the villagers from that would be able to get caught up in the breeding chamber. So before my game freezes, let's solve this problemo. And with that, Edwin is as happy as a freelancer can be, and I'm sure that he will not make the same mistake. This is not foreshadowing. Back to the building, and yes, I am creating a dock because every good lake needs a dock to go fishing on. And what's a lake without fish, you ask? Well, it's a puddle. So I will make your wish come true with the power of my bucket. And with that being said, we now have a brand new lake where we can relax and enjoy our view. However, rest not long, because we have a tunnel to dig. You can see me building a grand entrance right here. Now watch as I expand this tunnel to be cave-sized. And now we got some space to work with. Taking a look into this cave, we'll have one section that leads us directly to the castle, and at the split here, we can either enter the base or continue down the mining operation, which is merely an illusion. Anyways, this cave is going to need 3 main components. First, we're going to need some dripstone, amethyst, and then ores. But in the meanwhile, I want the cave to look like it's been blasted by using TNT, so I started by adding a ground cover of gravel and cobblestone. And with that, I added some dripstone to the floor, and now we can turn our focus onto building the mineshaft. Well, that would have been the case until I discovered what our friend here had done. You remember Edwin? Well, I sure wish I didn't, because after searching all over the place, you wouldn't be able to guess where I found him. Yep. Right back where we started, and I sure enjoyed going through the same process to bring him back to this room, as well as putting him in a spot where he could never escape. But even better, I had a special plan in mind to make him do whatever I told him. Wow, look guys, Edwin wanted to be a Fletcher this whole time. I'm so proud of him, and he's selling his items for only 1 emerald. How generous of him. I'm sure he won't be plotting any plans for revenge. Anyways, enjoy your stay, man, because I have some work to complete, and with the dripstone on deck, I started by placing some stalactite around the cave to give it a menacing look. The last item on our list that we need to collect is amethyst. And by placing it inside of the cave, we've completed 2 out of the 3 items on our list. And finally, it's time to place down these ores. And with the last component of our list completed, we can call this a done doer, or something like that. Ooh, I forgot to mention the rail track and the ore deposits which I added, but nevertheless, this is finally finished. Fireworks are awesome because you can use them to fly around and do many things with, but you see the issue is that it uses a lot of gunpowder, and I don't have much. And my only means right now of getting gunpowder is killing creepers, which is very inefficient. So if you couldn't tell already, I'm going to use AB Fielder's creeper farm design and build a gunpowder factory. First, I need a lot of stripped birch to construct the skeleton of this factory, so this wood farm is useful in gathering logs, and perhaps later in the episode this farm will come to great use. In the meanwhile, we're going to get this beacon out of AFK mode and turn it into haste 2 as we strip these logs down. Next we need bricks, which gathering them from any stonemason is not going to cut it, therefore we must get them manually. Apparently small drip leaf is also a status symbol in Minecraft because there's no way to duplicate this item, so always keep a pair of shears on deck so you can flex these to your friends. In prep for what's to come later, I also expanded my honey farm and finally collected all of the clay that I need to turn these into bricks. I sure wish I had a super smelter. Oh, and yes, Cooper Copper Bloopin Copper Blabbin. I really love gathering materials. Smooth stone, waxing coop and copper, blacks and bloop and blop and copper. And yes, this build also cost me 2 netherite ingots. Well, we won't need these soon because we got all the materials that we need, which actually looks like this. Bam. And it looks like we are ready to build. Ow. Here's what the foundation of our farm looks like, where I started to spice up the area by adding some grime and sewage pipes. Intermission. I don't know why this was in the script, but now it's in this script that I wanted to show you a really cool drowned farm that I made. Kind of explores the theme of some old ancient technological civilization, but enough babbling on for that for now. While building the exterior, I went for an old steam pump kind of vibe, which sells the point that this factory has gone through some wear and tear. And I once heard something from a Pixel Riffs podcast about matching the builds with the terrain, so I added some overgrowth to indicate that this factory is in fact an old Giza, which just about wraps up the exterior. Now in demand for an interior, I gathered a much wider variety of items. Here over at Creeper Industries, it is my job to create the best environment for my employees, so let me explain the layout. At the entrance, the lobby is a place where workers can store work equipment and prepare for a long days of work. The signs in red indicate that there are hazards that lie beyond into the main loft, which in its vast space contains a killing chamber for creepers, some loose explosives, a mess of storage crates, and a table used to create TNT similar to this image that I found online. Attention to detail in this corner where this broom was left to sweep up that mess. In this door to the left sits a sleeping quarter where the owner can get his rest as he oversees the farm. I built built a bed for this room with some storage beneath, a shelf with various items, a clock to keep track of time, and a desk to hold personal items. This room is ideal because it has all of the items I need if I plan on using this farm over a long period of time. I then built a storage room on the opposite side where I placed some barrels and some other entities. This room contains a secret entrance where I can access and modify the farm. Up the stairway leads to the second level of the main loft where I built some pipework, added some more storage, and constructed a mini firework building station. One table was constructed to turn sugarcane into paper, and I wish 1.20 was released by the time I made this video, because bamboo blocks would be a perfect block to represent the sugarcane, but for now we'll put some watermelon there. At last, the other table is for fireworks. And the final part of this build is Creeper Industries headquarters where we can do all of the mischievous planning. While fiddling around, I did my best to create a style that would make you feel very comfortable, such as the various items that will distract you while I plot for industrial domination. With the factory being complete, the only thing I need to do left is build the actual spawning platform, which is composed of 34 layers and requires approximately this much smooth stone, which visually looks like this, and it would be quite boring to smelt all of this by hand, so I'm going to construct a super smelter. And with that out of the way, I was able to smelt all of my smooth stone, as well as fill in these shulker boxes with other required materials. And now it's time to finish the long-awaited project, which I started by digging out this portion all the way to Y level -57, and filled in the layers one by one, which only took me 2 hours. Next up, I wanted to create an on and off switch, so I started with a piston next to a wall that would send a signal all the way down, and would eventually travel back up again, powering each redstone lamp. And the last part to make this farm functional will be adding an elevator that will funnel all of the creepers into one spot. And the last thing we needed, which is essential to the functionality of this farm, is our feline friends, which creepers naturally run away from, so they will be used to channel the mobs into the water elevator, with 4 per layer, meaning that we're going to need 136 cats. And after I did that 33 more times, I brought the excess cats somewhere safe, and I can finally test my masterpiece. I finally get to test this creeper farm. So all I have to do is flick this lever and hope that a creeper does not pop up out of nowhere and blow up my project that I've been working on for about a month or two. All of the lights should be turning off in the farm, which means that I will soon have creepers dropping from here. And yes, I turned my mob switch off so that they can spawn. Oh, come on, just... Oh, dude, look at it! Look at it go! Oh my god. Is that it? I think it's powerful to know that you can always experience something new in a place that you've spent so long in. For me, I've been playing the same game for 11 years, and it's moments like this that keep me fueled to go for another one. And one thing that you should know is that your only limits are your imagination. I hope wherever you're at in your journey, you can capture the same feeling of satisfaction that I did. And while I wish that feeling lasted forever, I still have so much that I want to do, yet one obstacle still lies in the way, and it will be my most ambitious project yet.